Yo, what up? This is D Knight, and you're listening to the Pardon the Insurrection podcast. My oh my, we've had so much going on. For starters, in case you missed it, we've got a new addition to the Pardon Pie family, Tara Dublin. Make sure you go follow her on Twitter at Tara Dublin Rocks. Also, pick up a copy of her book while you're at it. Make her day, The Sound of Settling. A very fun and interesting read compared to the things we talk about on this podcast. But yeah, we're heading toward the do or die time for the 2024 election. Go ahead and hit up JoeBiden.com. Get that man like $1 a month or something. Help his campaign staff up and get prepared to try and save our democracy. And make sure to grab like one other person you know and tell them about the podcast. Make sure they subscribe and tune in every single week. We got a lot of things coming up for you this year. We need all the support that we can get. So if you do your part and help us grow our audience, we'll do our part and help elect Joe Biden in 2024 and save American democracy. And this is the Pardon the Insurrection podcast. Ty, you okay? Are you drunk? How drunk are you?
I am pretty drunk.
Do you have some tea?
Yeah.
Okay, just think about rhythmic insults. That's all you need to remember right now. That's your plan.
Tea is my solution for getting through the podcast in some semi-awake fashion. So if you want to go make you some tea, you can go do that. You probably can't make any tea right now. You're so drunk.
No, just do the rhythmic insults. You'll figure it out. That's what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
In a funny voice. I know.
Yeah. And then you got to be like, well, you'll get it.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
We said that last time. It was great.
Did we?
Wait, what did we say last time?
That she'd figure it out.
Oh, and then she didn't figure it out. And then I had to keep restarting it because I was like, Ty, we're doing a thing. And you're like, huh? What thing? What are you talking about? And then you were like, Merrick Garland, Jack Smith. They're going to send him to prison. You're like, no, not like that.
Okay. Okay.
Wait, are you ready? Do I need to count?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll count us in. 3, 2. Merrick Garland. Jack
Wait, there's
Smith.
no music.
There's no music. No. What do you mean there's no music? You can't hear it?
No.
Did I not do it right?
No.
No.
Sorry, hon. Share original sound.
I did. I
We'll
did that.
Okay. We'll do it. Go.
Okay. Wait.
3, 2.
Oh, I forgot to share the sound. That's what happened. Merrick Garland.
Jack Smith.
They did it again, Carol.
Indictment number 3 on the federal level.
Indictment number 3.5 because they got him again in Florida last week. Oh, 4 more counts. Add them up, Carol. Do the math.
Conspiracy.
To do what?
To defraud the United States.
That's right.
That's the first one.
Hit him again, Carol. Count number 2. What is it?
I'm getting there.
You're supposed to have this pulled up on your phone. Fraudulent electors. Obstruction of official proceeding. I don't know why official is so difficult to say, but it's a complicated word.
It's a complicated word when English is your first language.
And then they tried to get Mike Pence to throw out the Electoral College votes. They got him, Carol. He's going to jail.
Also, a conspiracy against the right to vote.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one because your vote matters.
That one was a surprise.
And Jack Smith said so.
That one was a surprise.
It wasn't that much of a surprise because there was a fucking Target letter like 2 weeks ago that told us all this shit was coming.
I didn't know because I wasn't the target, and nor have I ever been.
No more indictment watch for us. The indictments are here, baby. Send his ass to prison forever. He can die in jail, Carol. Die in jail. And then they'll have a cell waiting for him in hell. And he can say hello to Art Briles when he gets there. No one knows who Art Briles is.
Yes.
Football coach, former Baylor guy. That's not that important. Yeah, but you've been waiting for this moment for 2.5 years. It's here. Pop your champagne, bitches. He's going to prison.
Pop that champagne.
Yeah, congratulations, Jack Smith. You did it. Woo! I'm so proud of you. Knew you had it in you. Also, proud of you, Merrick Garland. I knew that you probably would have got to this point if Trump had announced he was running for re-election like 7 months early. And that way you had to appoint Jack Smith as a special counsel to, keep the heat off of Biden. But before we get to all that.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This is D Night.
This is Carol.
Hi.
And you're listening to the Part in the Insurrection podcast, where we often remember our names.
Yeah, where only 2 of our 3 hosts know their names. Yeah, so emergency pod. Obviously, if you didn't get the news, what fucking planet are you on? Trump's finally been indicted for his actions on 1/6 in his attempt to overthrow the fucking government. That didn't go so over well with the judicial system, with the law enforcement folks.
3 separate chargeable conspiracies related there too. Wow.
Oh yeah, they finally got his ass. We've been waiting for this moment for a long time. I mean, obviously the impetus for this podcast was the January 6th committee conducting their investigation into Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 election. And we've told you since day one, practically, the charges were coming. It's been a long wait. It's finally here. But, kudos to the Justice Department for the impeccable timing. It just so happens that Trump indictment number 3.5 aligned with our 100th episode. Woo!
Woo! Number 100!
Yeah, so this is a hell of a way to celebrate. 100 episodes of our dumbasses. We get to pop the champagne and celebrate Trump finally being held accountable for the thing this podcast was most focused on.
Woohoo! And Trump was finally able to keep something in business, though it was not one of his businesses. Our podcast never runs out of material.
Yeah, we never show up on the podcast like, damn, what are we going to talk about this week? We never have that problem because there's always some fuck shit and some shenanigans that him or his people have been involved in over the course of a week. But yeah, this is like the culmination of everything we've done so far. And I just want to take a second to revel in that shit.
I'm going to raise my margarita.
Yeah.
That's right. Cheers. Cheers, bitches. Listeners out there, you're allowed to go hit pause on this and go grab yourself a drink as well. 3, 2. All right. You unpause this. I take it. Cheers to Trump going to prison. Trump 2024 years in prison. That's what we're celebrating.
And more importantly, wink, wink, to justice being served.
Yeah.
Finally.
Fucking justice. And I mean, jumping right into it, this is such a good narrative. I mean, not good for anybody, but the indictment, it just lays out such a nice case about how he was constantly over and over again told that his claims of voter fraud that he kept disseminating had no merit by his closest advisors. And he was just like, hey, I'm going to commit some of my thoughts to evidence by keeping them on Twitter and they'll be archived forever. Because there's a lot of stuff entered into the record that appears to be a tweet. Who would have thought? You say last week we were saying, where did they get this, the transcript from the conversation they had in the closet? But this motherfucker is just like, oh, I admitted everything publicly.
Yeah, it's a perfect legal strategy, Carol. Playing your coup out in the open on the internet, on social media, where everyone can read your exact words. But yeah, so we'll list off the 4 criminal counts included in the indictment first and foremost. So count number 1, You have 18 U.S.C. 371, which is conspiracy to defraud the United States. Count number 2 is 18 U.S.C. 1512, Section K, which is conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Count 3, 18 U.S.C. 1512, Section C, Part 2, is obstruction of and an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding. And count number 4, and finally, 18 U.S.C. 241, conspiracy against rights, which is, the conspiracy to deprive people of their right to vote or for their vote to be adequately counted. So first and foremost,
motherfucker, how dare you? Sorry, go on.
No,
Not you.
you're all good. Well, hey, look, I've fucked a couple of mothers in my day. Anyway, so
Were they mothers? But nothing.
they weren't my mother.
What?
Okay.
So what the indictment, we've gotten totally off track here. What the indictment lays out in general is first and foremost Trump's plot to overturn the 2020 election, but the method by which he intended to involve individuals in a conspiracy to do so was based on his public facing lies about how the 2020 election was rigged and how it was stolen from him and how all these other people needed to engage in criminal behavior to help him right what was a supposed wrong. But
Should we play a guessing game about who the co-conspirators are here? We have the descriptions.
Well, we don't have to play a guessing game, Carol, because I know the answers.
Okay, but I'm going to read them anyway. Co-conspirator 1, an attorney who was willing to spread knowingly false claims and pursue strategies that defendants' 2020 re-election campaign attorneys would not. I assume Giuliani, but I don't know.
Okay, Carol. Ty, where'd you go? Are you alive?
Oh,
Did you go to sleep? All right, wake up real quick. We got a game to play. It's called Guess That Co-Conspirator. Bum bum ba-dum, bum bum ba-dum, bum bum ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. All right, Carol, if you
Ty, come on down.
Yeah, Ty, come on down. Carol, come on down. Carol, if you be nice enough to read that description of co-conspirator number 1 again, so
Sure.
Ty can have a hint.
Co-conspirator 1 is an attorney who is willing to spread knowingly false claims and pursue strategies that the defendant's 2020 re-election campaign attorneys would not.
All right, Todd, you go first. What's your guess? Who does that describe?
I am.
Is Jenna Ellis? No.
I mean, you don't have a lot of options because it's a lawyer, and it was involved with trying to overthrow the 2020 election. So
they're just naming any lawyers? Like Kelly McEnany's a lawyer, right? But she wasn't his lawyer.
Rudy Giuliani. That's like my.
Giuliani was my.
Is that your final guess?
Yes.
Bing, bing, bing. You nailed it, kids. It's Rudy Giuliani. Congratulations.
Ooh, you're the closest without overbidding.
It's
Co-conspirator 2,
Number 2,
an attorney who devised and attempted to implement a strategy to leverage the vice president's ceremonial role in overseeing the certification process to obstruct the certification of the presidential election. Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with shit.
Todd, did you get all that? We got attorney number 2, basically, who was involved in the plot to try and pressure Mike Pence into overturning the 2020 election. You got any guesses?
Jeff guy, the fucking acting attorney general after Barr.
Well, he wasn't. He wasn't actually. Wait, which Jeff are you talking about?
The one who was the environmental lawyer. No, he wasn't acting attorney general till later. So I'm gonna go with Linwood. No, he's later. I don't know. There's just so many crazy fucking attorneys.
Yeah,
and
there's so many criminal co-conspirators that you don't know which one is which. Todd, you got any guesses? Or are you too drunk?
No, I am drunk.
Ty got to celebrating early. She was like, Trump's going to prison. Woo, pop them bottles. Yo, she couldn't make it to the podcast. It's totally okay. Just give it a shot. Give it a guess. It doesn't have to be right. Just name an attorney. Name a bad one.
Jenna Ellis. We'll go back with her.
Ty, okay. Carol, Jenna Ellis is locked in for you. Ty, I need an attorney from you. Give me one. And it can't be Rudy Giuliani again because you used that one.
He's all used up.
Name a bad Trump lawyer. Go.
I will. I think.
Jenna Ellis, she doesn't have a strategy.
Oh,
Say a name.
Just say a name. Say a name.
I will say. Shit. I.
Alina Habba. How about that?
Yes. Oh.
Yeah,
right,
after I said Jenna Ellis and then said the word devised a plan, I was like,
yeah, you're like, no, that can't be it.
Or strategy? No, she's
You're both wrong. It's John Eastman.
that's the guy.
Oh
Damn
man,
it.
you were so close. Yeah, the guy who was emailing back and forth with Jenny Thomas, husband of sitting Supreme
that
Court
fucking guy.
Justice Clarence
Oh,
Thomas.
I noticed none of these seem to describe her, unfortunately.
No.
Co-conspirator 3, an attorney whose unfounded claims of election fraud the defendant privately acknowledged to others sounded, quote, crazy. Nonetheless, the defendant embraced and publicly amplified co-conspirator 3's disinformation. Okay, I got that one. That one I got. Ty says, it's Sidney Powell. And Carol's like, that's Sidney Powell.
Ding, 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 ding. You guessed it, kids. You're tied up 2-2. Co-conspirator number 4, Carol, give us a description.
A Justice Department official who worked on civil matters, who, with the defendant, attempted to use the Justice Department to open sham election crime investigations and influence state legislatures with knowingly false claims of election fraud. Justice Department official. Is that going to be Jeffrey Clark? No. She's sleeping, man. We love you, Ty. Just go to sleep. Drink some water first.
Yeah, make sure you drink plenty of water so you're hydrated. Do whatever you can to cut down on this particularly awful hangover you're about to have in the morning.
I'm trying to think of all the lawyers' names.
Trump
Like, at what
indictment
point
hangover.
They backed out.
Well, what was your
Yeah,
guess,
just go-
Carol?
I think I said Jeffrey Clark.
Yeah, you nailed it. Congratulations.
Woohoo!
You're 3 for 4. Co-conspirator number 5. Go.
An attorney who assisted in devising and attempting to implement a plan to submit fraudulent slates of presidential electors to obstruct the certification process. An attorney is gonna. Now, would they list Jeff Rosen because he was a Justice Department?
You're not
I
going
was
to get
wrong
this
before.
one.
What?
You're probably not going to get this one. But I
Okay,
knew
so
exactly
let's-
who it was. I didn't really have to.
Yeah, well, if I didn't get it yet, then just go with it. I don't think Ty's gonna guess today. Ty?
He has your favorite kind of off-color name of all the co-conspirators involved
Fuck.
that we've talked about previously.
Yeah, I can't fucking think of anything.
Kenneth
holding a
Cheese,
cracker.
bro. You were
Cheese,
so
bro.
close.
Well, that's perfect because I was gonna
You were
call
holding
him
that cracker. Would you like some cheese, bro, with that cracker?
I really would. I ran out of cheese.
Well, I guess
Quite
I
a
did
while
that
ago.
backwards. Would you like some cracker with that cheese, bro?
Really?
yes.
Co-conspirators number 6, a political consultant who helped implement a plan to submit fraudulent slates of presidential electors to obstruct the certification proceeding. This one excites me because yay, more indictments for him.
Oh, actually, no, that's the one I don't know. Co-conspirator.
Oh, you don't
number
know
6.
you haven't decided. I mean, the obvious guess would be Steve Bannon, I guess.
It's entirely. I don't think that is the description I would use if it were Steve Bannon. I don't know.
So maybe it's just a 6th guy with an uncrusted face.
I mean, I guess it's entirely possible that it is Jenny Thomas. I don't know. I mean, look, anything can be possible based on that description.
That would be so wild. I mean, not unprecedented. No, definitely unprecedented. Not unfounded.
No, I mean, she was
But
calling
it's like
Mark.
how I say I'm surprised, but like I shouldn't be.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like she was calling Mark Meadows. She was calling members of Congress. She was sending emails to random motherfuckers in state legislatures everywhere. So we can't rule it out. But yes, so far, co-conspirator number 6 is the only individual who's yet to be unmasked as a co-conspirator in the criminal conspiracy. I'm sure we'll be getting that information shortly.
I noticed there are no Kayleys or Jennas on this list, so I wonder if they cooperated.
I don't know how super involved Kaylee was, but I'm sure she gave her testimony.
I mean, she was willing to lie through her teeth about it nonstop in her official capacity, and she was acting as press secretary, spreading election lies. Presumably, knowably, she's not an idiot. But anyway.
Wait, are we talking about the same Kelly McEnany, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure she's not an idiot?
I think that she's evil. I think that she's probably pretty intelligent. I mean, didn't she graduate from a pretty prestigious law school and manage to get herself I shouldn't list being able to get a job as Trump's lawyer as a plus, because we saw that like anyone could do that.
Yeah, I was going to say like Ron DeSantis graduated from a prestigious law school. And
I don't think he's stupid either. I think he's just an evil tool bag and who has no charisma. You think he's stupid? I think he's just bad at everything.
I mean,
I'm sure he's got the technical expertise at the area of law he studied, and he doesn't give a shit about the law. So it's just like, I don't know, studying musical theory, but like you hate to sing. I don't know.
Yes, he's very useless at practical application of anything that you might perceive as intelligence. So, yeah, maybe he has it like on paper, but in reality, in the real world, out here in society with humanity, with other people, no. Yep, he's a piece of trash. But no, I seriously doubt Kelly McEnany is going to be indicted. I'm sure she cooperated. Sure she testified. Mark Meadows isn't mentioned in this at all, so I'm assuming he testified. Pence is mentioned rather thoroughly in this indictment. Given that he didn't seem to take any steps towards implementing Trump's fucking criminal schemes, I'm guessing he won't be indicted. But it's impossible to tell because, who knows what the fuck Pence was planning before all of this got super out of control with the plot to delay the certification and all the violence and the fake electors and whatnot. Like, just because he wasn't willing to do the shit himself doesn't mean he didn't have a part to play in all of that. And he was clearly in the know and had knowledge beforehand and didn't tell anybody about the plot. He was just like, well, I'm not in it.
Yeah, but at least 2.5 years and 77 criminal charges later, he has finally had the spine to issue a tepid rebuke of former President Trump in response to this indictment.
Yeah, go ahead and read that. It was fantastic. Fantastically mellow.
You get it? And
clearly mother allowed him to make a public statement.
Anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. Oh, today indictment serves as a great reminder of that. But still, he got that out finally. It took him 2.5 years, 1 noose, several death threats.
Anyone who puts himself above the Constitution, he should never be the president of the United States. You don't say. It's a pretty low fucking bar there. But so Pence is involved quite a bit in this indictment. One of the funny things is on like Christmas, Trump was trying to call Pence to get him to engage in the plot to overthrow the election. And bro was like, I'm trying to hang out with mother. Which is his wife.
Get a life, man.
I mean, yeah, it's funny on Christmas Day. Like the only thing on Trump's mind is how do I steal the election? He's like calling Pence, telling him to reject Biden's electors. And Pence is like, bro, I don't know if I can do that.
But it's also just fucking annoying from a social point of view. Imagine like you got fired from a job with your friend, like your coworker calls you like 2 months later and they're like, on Christmas. They're like, this is bullshit. I shouldn't have been fired. And you're like, we were all fired. Fuck off. Like,
Yeah, well, Trump was calling him every week, trying to get him to do this crazy shit. Even
we might not be friends anymore. Didn't he say something like that?
something along those lines. I don't know if Mike Pence and I can be friends after this, which is a threat. Well, given that, given that after Pence kept telling him no, even on January 5th, Trump put out that tweet on January 6th saying Pence has the power to, overturn the election, basically, and he should, but he won't. And then everyone who stormed the Capitol took that as like an indication that Pence should be the target, that they should go after his ass. And if you remember from the reports of January 6th, from what the committee noted, Pence had tried to escape the Senate chambers and he was making his way out, but then the mob was like right around the corner and the Secret Service ducked Pence into this room, like, right off this hallway, and like the mob ran by like seconds later. So they were like, what was it, like 20, 30 yards away? Like they were literally right there. They almost had him because they stormed the Capitol. So, once they had breached the Capitol, they stormed the building that fast that they were like right there on Pence. Oh man. But yeah, I think my favorite takeaway from all of this is that while Trump isn't being indicted for seditious conspiracy like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers yet, that he is actually getting indicted for conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Like he's actually being indicted for the actions that he took on January 6th that led to the violence. Like, so he knew that he had to delay the certification of Biden's electors, and he knew that Pence wasn't up for it. But other members of Congress were doing their best to try and throw things off. And Trump also went out of his way to send that violent, angry mob down to the Capitol, as is well noted in this indictment. So make sure you read that part and keep that in mind, because when the trial comes and people are going to be complaining about, oh, he didn't get indicted for sedition. Well, close enough. Like the indictment.
I can't wait till the trial comes too, because I love all the people now who are like, there is absolutely no evidence to support these claims. I'm like, no, the evidence is definitely, they don't issue an indictment based on, that's why it took so long for them to start investigating him. They had to have enough evidence for probable cause to open the investigation.
Well, I think we had that on January 7th, but I mean, obviously that wasn't going to happen with Trump in office and his people in the Department of Justice. But I mean, if you want to talk about that for a second, the reason for the delay in opening investigation directly into Trump, and you can fault them for this or no, I mean, it just depending on how you want to look at it. So DOJ wanted to start an investigation of the people at the top in Trump's administration, and the FBI was like, no, we're going to start with the ground up. And once Mayor Garland got confirmed, I believe in March or so of 2021, according to the briefings he received, like Trump's name never came up. So you could kind of see why Garland himself might not directly order an investigation, to start at the level of Trump and work its way down when they presented him with all this evidence of the crimes that took place on the ground on January 6th. So DOJ initially decided to go with the ground up investigation. And there are problems with that, obviously being you can't start an investigation of the people who entered the Capitol building on January 6th and end up at the fake elector plot, right? It's two completely separate, unrelated plans. So, I mean, you could kind of fault DOJ maybe for not getting started on that a few months earlier, but they did eventually get around to the point where they seized Jeffrey Clark's phone. I believe that was in 2021. And once they had his communications and text messages, I guarantee you that Garland had initiated an investigation into what eventually became the fake elector plot and this plot to have Mike Pence refuse to certify the electors.
But what would you call the stuff that they gathered to help substantiate the case they were trying to make?
Yeah, enough evidence for probable cause. But what I was saying is given that
I know. I get what you were saying. I'm just talking to all the people who are like, there's absolutely no evidence.
Oh yeah. Well, I thought you were talking about the people, the other end of the spectrum was like, what took DOJ so long? I hate those fucking people. Just as much as I hate there's no evidence people. I hate both you fuckers.
I guess the ones who are ostensibly on our quote side, it's more frustrating when they're like totally fucking stupid about it.
Yeah, but no. So given what was presented in the impeachment hearings, in February of 2021, I mean, I feel like there was probable cause to open an investigation, or at least a preliminary investigation, or if not, just interview, fucking Trump's people who wanted to come in.
They have a fuck ton of evidence. Like,
well, yeah, they do now, but I'm saying just like if you're on the side of, hey, DOJ should have got started on this earlier, like I can see your argument for that, and I totally understand, but this was just the kind of calls that investigators make, right? They have a choice between pursue the investigation this way, bottom up, or this other way, top down. You can only pick one or the other. They chose the bottom up route, which probably added 6 months or so. And another instance that resulted in a delay of the investigation getting started in full gear of Trump and the people around him was just the fact that it took so fucking long to get Garland's people installed in DOJ. Like Garland's appointment was delayed a couple months, and Lisa Monaco's appointment was delayed even longer. So to get the people in place to actually do this shit took a while. And of course, like Trump was in office for 4 years, stacked the DOJ with a bunch of, Bill Barr shitheads. So
sometimes
obviously
it's hard to remember how far we've come.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it was obviously going to take Merrick Garland some time just to clean up the fucking problems at the DOJ before he could even get started on this investigation in full scale. And that was just one of the issues that needed solving. And that accounted for some of the delay. It just is what it is. Sorry it took so long, guys, but it's fucking here. It's fucking here. Pat yourselves on the back. You did it. You hung in there. You had faith. Most of you. Here we are. Trump's indicted. I imagine that given the judge that's appointed to oversee his trial being by all accounts, extremely competent and fair and balanced judge, that this means Trump is going to prison. And I say that, with the idea that the evidence presented so far seems pretty incontrovertible. It's like it's nearly indefensible, but also in DC, Trump's not going to get nearly the friendly jury that he might get in the classified documents case in South Florida. So like even just having a fair jury who's not going to be tempted to fall for Trump's bullshit doesn't bode well for him. And then a judge who's not in his pocket, not only is she not going to do things that would end up throwing the case in Trump's favor, like when it comes to sentencing time.
She wouldn't accept bribes. This is judicial misconduct.
She might.
It's coming in some way.
It's definitely coming in some shape, form, or fashion.
25 to 30 times.
Yeah, because she didn't vote for him, she's somehow corrupt. But yeah, because she's just a fair and reasonable judge, and looking at the fact that Trump's actions spurred on violence, practically, he's, by all accounts, responsible for all the violence that took place on January 6th. There's no denying that, but that he also clearly instigated it. Come sentencing time, she might actually put his ass in prison. She might actually order him to serve time. Now,
so this is the same Obama appointee who sought longer than the recommended prison sentences. Did you already say that for the
I did not.
Previous January 6th seditious conspiracy guys?
I did not.
So it should be interesting.
Yeah. So we had Judge Mehta, who consistently sentences with downward departures for the individuals involved in the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Well, this particular judge is basically the opposite. She's the only judge to give longer sentences the DOJ was recommending for individuals who were convicted for their actions on January 6th. So that is one of the few things, well, the few obvious things that points to a poor outcome for Trump during trial and once the trial is concluded. Like, this judge ain't fucking around and ain't taking no bullshit. Also, we've got the fun flavor, I guess the talking points going around today about Trump's indictment in the MAGA party, where they're either choosing not to comment or their comments involve the fact that they haven't read the indictment. And I'm like, well, before you start defending Trump, you have to read the indictment. Otherwise, you got to shut the fuck up. Them's the rules.
They're refusing to read it and also positing to their followers that it is ludicrous to read it, and that they shouldn't. And I think to some extent it's working. People are like, it's bullshit. They hear what they hear it. They believe it. They're not going to read it.
Yeah, look, everyone
I heard
out
it
there.
was bullshit. I heard it was bullshit. My mom said. My mom, Tucker Carlson. Sorry, he doesn't have a show anymore. My mom.
Your mom, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, if you're running for president in 2024 and you can't read this fucking indictment, you're not qualified to run for president. And if you're on TV telling people not to read the fucking indictment, you're not qualified to do your job. Yeah. Anyone listening to this podcast, do make it your best effort to share the indictment with the people that you know, whether that be online or offline. Make sure everyone fucking reads this thing. If you're in a book club, cancel the fucking book this month and make it the Trump indictment. And to that end,
if you would like to hear a handsome Southern gentleman read it for you, keep your eyes and ears peeled for the next special episode of Pardon the Insurrection, where D-Knight will read you the indictment in his Nashville twang.
Yeah, that's also an option. I'm going to record an audio version of the indictment in full, put it here on this podcast. If that's any incentive for you to continue listening to the podcast. Also, make sure you share that with other individuals who are too lazy to fucking read. I know reading is fundamental, but not everyone is astute in the fundamentals. So they can listen to that thing here. Just go ahead and tell them about this podcast. As a matter of fact, if you can, send them a fucking link. If not, pull it up on their phone and hit the follow button so they'll know where it is. And that should be coming to you soon, probably within the next 24. Well, I'm sure it'll be less than 24 hours once you hear this fucking podcast. So yep, audio version of the indictment coming here. Share that everywhere. Put that on your social medias, because the people who refuse to read this thing will be lacking on some very important details that will make all of this come together for them in a understandable and basically straightforward, simple manner. Ty, you still drunk?
I am.
Happy indictment day, Ty. You deserved it. You earned this shit. You earned every single drink that you got to partake in.
Did
today.
you mean to message us the coup? Because it's on topic. I mean,
yeah, they did coup. So there is that. That's pretty awesome.
Say the coup.
But yeah, they're all fucked. There's a couple of mentions of some Republican Republican members of the House of Representatives, as well as a couple of Republican senators who were in contact with Trump about implementing this false elector scheme and or delaying the 2021 certification on January 6th of the 2020 election. I imagine that if those individuals aren't named in an indictment in the near future, then they're probably cooperating. Because, once you see that and they know who they are, they got to be like, damn, I don't want to go to prison. I'm not running for president. I'm not going to have fucking immunity. just being in Congress for this shit. They're probably going to cut a deal. And if they don't, I imagine they'll be indicted soon. And keep in mind that just like with the classified documents case, where Trump was willing to indict Trump, where Jack Smith was willing to indict Trump just to get the indictment out of the way, get the information public, get the criminal legal process rolling, and then circle back a month later, as in last week, and issue a superseding indictment, including more damning information and involving another criminal co-conspirator. Like, the initial indictment wasn't the end, it was the beginning. Like, the investigation continued, the grand jury continued to meet, Smith continued to collect evidence and continued to put together a case, and it eventually issued more charges against Trump. So just like with that, here in the January 6th investigation, this indictment isn't the end, it's the beginning. Like, the charges are issued, yes, but Jack Smith's not packing up. The grand jury's not going anywhere. They're going to continue investigating. They're going to put together more evidence. They're going to incriminate more people. And when Jack Smith thinks he's gotten to the point where he can convict others beyond a reasonable doubt, he'll put that information in the grand jury. They'll vote on it and issue more indictments. And we don't know what the cascading effect of that will be. Like, just like with DOJ started the investigation from the bottom, indicting the people on the ground, and it worked its way all the way up to the militia members that were part of the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, 3%ers and such. Like, starting this direction and working its way down, you never know how many people Jack Smith will end up indicting, because there's a lot more individuals involved with this plot than just Trump and the 6 co-conspirators named in the indictment. Well, I guess they weren't named, but masked in the indictment. Yeah, just stay tuned for that. More's coming. Celebrate your fucking victories. Enjoy your fucking wins while you can, because we'll probably not get a win as big as this until the criminal
he's
trials.
convicted.
Well, yeah, until the trials roll around. Yeah, Carol, you got anything you would like to add?
I'm excited. I'm interested to see where the conspiracy against rights, the voting rights one, goes. I'm hoping that they will set out a hard and fast precedent against that sort of behavior, both to get the ball rolling on punishing all the spokes in the wheel that were complicit in helping voter fraud. I know that just sounded like a bunch of bullshit because I heard it while I was saying it, but like, all the people who were complicit, hopefully they'll start seeing some consequences, and it will discourage the kinds of laws and actions that would lead to more voter suppression in the future.
No,
and I'm
Carol,
hoping
these
it
people
will
are going to
discourage that behavior, and that they will have a clear precedent to litigate against it.
No, Carol, these people are going to continue being complete hypocrites. They'll care about voter fraud, so they say, and then do everything they can to stop actual Americans from voting, at least within the bounds of what's supposedly legal.
Yeah, but okay, reading through this indictment, they list a lot of state officials in the contested election states like Michigan. I think it was specifically Michigan. They had the heads of the state legislature refusing to go along with the plan, saying they weren't going to decertify or refuse to certify because that plan wasn't supported by fact, blah, blah, blah. There were already people who were not willing to cooperate. So now I'm hoping that with the threat of a very clearly set out precedent and maybe clearly set out sentencing, hopefully, I'm just hoping, D, to me, it would be a deterrent to the people who didn't really want to play along but felt pressured, etc.
Well, they're going to do
deterrence. You can just prosecute them.
They're going to do their best to make sure people can't vote. What they won't do is throw out people's votes once they're already counted, which is what these charges are about. But yeah, I mean, look, it'd be great if DOJ could set some kind of precedent, just ending voter suppression in general. But like, that's probably not going to happen again. Supreme Court go to the Voting Rights Act and Shelby versus Holder, and we haven't really made any headwinds going in the right direction here in the last I guess it's been almost a decade now, but look, anything's possible. I don't know. We'll see how that unfolds. But yeah,
any future case on the same subject matter is going to cite this case if it goes well. If they get that conviction.
Yeah. Well,
that's just how the case law works, man. The common law. That doesn't mean that it will be accepted, but like once it's precedent, they're going to be like, remember that? And this guy's not even president of the United States, so it's a much lower threshold.
Yeah.
That was my other thought about it. That is just that I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, same. I mean, we're going to get to watch it unfold before our very eyes over the course of the next year and some change. I tried to do an Ask Me Anything on the Twitter, but apparently I spelled ask and anything incorrectly. Thank you, typos.
Did you say ask me?
No, it was somehow worse than that. It was incomprehensible. So
very special. I'm not going to read it out loud because I'm afraid you'll say something that'll get me in trouble.
You're not going to get in trouble, Carol. You're an adult that's in kindergarten. You'll be all right. But yeah, let me retry that again with proper spelling and see what happens.
Sometimes you tweet words I don't want to read out loud.
like what particular words might you be referring to, Carol?
Well, but here you just said my black ass.
Yeah, I didn't say. Yeah, earlier before we started recording, Ty deigned to call me her Negro, and Carol refused to do such, which was in good taste. I appreciate that, Carol. Ty's allowed to do that because she's black and I'm black. You were technically not allowed to do that. I mean, I guess if there were some particular circumstances where,
and as I mentioned earlier, when we started getting into the particular circumstances under which it might be okay, it's cool. I have no inclination, so we could just like.
Okay, so yeah, what do you think the implications of this indictment are for the Republican primary? Given that Trump's been indicted yet again. Now, keep in mind, I know like after the previous indictments, it only solidified his support in the Republican Party. But like this particular indictment and the circumstances surrounding this is like January 6th was the least popular thing he's ever done. Like his approval rating fell in the tank after that shit. So do you think there will be any potential future implications of this? At least as far as the GOP. I mean,
it's just so hard to imagine that anyone who's still following him is willing to look at evidence.
Not to believe evidence, but to even look at it.
Right. Yeah. The people like, I just don't see how like this, a lot of this information has been available, and I'll admit like a lot of it is new as well. I mean, we had access to some of these texts just through the media and whatever, but
yeah, there's some new shit in this indictment. And look, if you haven't read it yet, you'll get the whole thing tomorrow, or I guess when you hear this, you'll be getting it today. And you have every little piece of information that we have publicly available.
Yeah. But I do think it's hurting him. I mean, even if people are still publicly sticking up for him, like even Ron DeSantis, who's obviously Trump is his biggest threat to winning the nomination, and his tweet is just a bunch of puffery because he wants Trump. It's obviously in his best interest for Trump to go to jail, but he is in such a precarious situation. But he can't say anything bad about Trump because then he thinks somehow he can pick up Trump's base. So he's like, oh, the weaponization of the justice system, like I will get rid of this, blah blah blah, and he's hinted at pardons, but like, please, he knows he's saying that shit only because he knows Trump is going to go to jail. Otherwise, why would he say it? It's against, like, it weakens his candidacy. Promote his opponent like that.
It's
he
even
obviously
worse.
Knows he's going.
It's even worse because he's using Trump's exact framing in his near exact words, right? So he's like, I'm going to do the same thing Trump will do if Trump gets elected. Well, bro, what do people need you for if you're just going to be a less popular version of Trump? They can get the real.
Well, he'll be in prison.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Part of the reason why Republicans aren't coming out against Trump is because in order to win the primary, they will need the support of Trump's voters. And you're not going to be able to win those people over by attacking Trump, right? So they're trying to thread the needle of like, hey, I'm more electable than Trump, but I'm just as Trumpy as Trump is.
Yeah, maybe. But then it's still bad news for him that, Mike Pence, who he literally tried to have killed or suggested strongly that someone else should kill, would make it this far 2.5 years without sticking up for himself or saying like one negative word about his old pal Trump. So the tepid rebuke, I do think, is pretty. I think that's also real bad for Trump. And then we have Pence trying to pose himself as like the reasonable days of your conservative who still wants the same bad agenda, but is very polite about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think Pence can win for obvious reasons, but namely because the people who just tried to kill him 2 years ago probably aren't going to vote for him. But I applaud him for attempting to give the most stern of his tepid rebukes possible today.
And Nikki Haley had something to say about it too, right? Not today's the last indictment. I feel like she had a tepid rebuke as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was she dipped her toe in the water slightly, her pinky toe.
TLDR, they all want him to go to jail.
That's okay. Yeah, in case anyone doesn't know this already, the biggest unkept secret in Washington, D.C. is all the Republicans are hoping Trump goes to jail before the primary so they can get somebody else in there. But they can also run on the grievance of having Trump go to jail, right? So they can be like, oh, no, it's a shame. Like, this is election interference by Biden, blah, blah, blah. We're going to pardon Trump. But they don't actually want Trump to win the nomination. They want him locked up and out of their hair. But they want Democrats to do their dirty work for them. Democrats in the Department of Justice. But yeah, they hate his ass. They want him to go away. But they're, as Eric Swalwell would say, they're too much of a pussy to do it themselves. And they might get their fucking wish. Who knows? I think another issue they're having as well is Trump is key to the donors, right? The small dollar donors who provide the money that basically makes elections go.
And that's bad. How can this corrupt party fueled by corporate sponsorship, basically, they're broke? How are they broke?
Well, for starters, Trump has soaked up hundreds of millions of dollars since he lost the election in 2020. After he lost, he grabbed $100 million before he even left office and has continued to fundraise ever since. But because he's soaking up all of the money from the small donors, there's not a lot left to go around for the Republican Party elsewhere in other states. And if you've been keeping up with the news here, like the Michigan GOP, they're broke. What is it? Iowa GOP, they're broke. Pennsylvania, they're struggling. This is going to be one of the issues that might come to bite them in the ass come 2024. The fact that the Republican Party let Trump take over, well, he took over all the fucking money. The GOP party was already a Ponzi scheme.
Destroy us and we'll have deserved it.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham. So the Republican Party was already a Ponzi scheme, and Trump was like, "Oh, I see how this works. Let me go ahead and sit here at the top of the Ponzi scheme and take all the money." And it's going to come back to bite them, especially if Trump is somehow convicted of fraud based on the donations that he raised on lies that were clearly laid out here in this indictment. So should his super PAC, the one that's raised all the funds, be indicted on fraud. That will give DOJ cause to seize the funds before it even goes to trial, which means the Republican Party will really be broke, given that he spent, over the course of the last 6 months or so, it's been reported he spent over $40 million just on his legal defense alone, with all the various criminal investigations, and a grand total of $56 million.
Oh, right. This is like the biggest Ponzi scheme in the world, right? That's what...
Yeah, he's taking up all these donations, sending them to his PAC, and then his PAC is paying his legal defense and for the lawyers involved.
But he's using his current donations to fuel his.
Well, yeah. So the way it's working out at the moment is, I think it's 9-1. So for every $10, one person donates to his campaign, $1 of it is going to his legal fees, which seems illegal, but whatever. It's just stretching the limits of campaign law. But hey, whatever.
They're like, you can't possibly prosecute me for every crime.
And Jack Smith is like, just you wait and see about that, buddy. Ty, you still with us? You alive? You still there? Nope. I guess you went to sleep. All right. So we've got.
Moved a little.
Did you see her hair or something? All right. We got
she's switching over there.
We've got 3 questions on the Twitter. You guys must be off busy drinking and celebrating today. I totally understand it. So at Jetson77 asks, which of us is most likely the one who will, what is SS Trump's reaction to be?
Which one of us is most likely the one who will access them?
Yeah, I don't know what the answer to that question is.
Secret Service?
Yeah, I don't know. That could be a more coherent question. Well, we've got a video from Don Jr. here. I guess we can go ahead and play that. I have no idea what it is. We'll react to this together, Carol.
Trump has the charisma of a mortician and the energy that makes Jeb Bush look like an Olympian. The policies of a DC swamp rat, because we've seen the flip-flops, right?
I think what Don Jr. was trying to say there is DeSantis has the charisma of a mortician, and he had a Freudian slip and was talking about his father there. So,
I saw that.
Yes, it's entirely possible. At nationalism is BS that was a chemically induced moment of honesty from Don Jr. there. Let's see, Michelle.
I know a funeral director. I don't know if it's the same as a mortician, but he's fine.
It's close enough.
He's
Michelle, who is at Living Blue, Texas, says, after the Georgia indictment, are there any more out there looming? Well, yes. Michelle, there's potentially more January 6 charges coming. There's potentially more classified documents charges coming. There's probably
wire fraud, potentially federal wire fraud charges.
Yeah, for the role his campaign and his PAC played in raising all that money on lies, fraudulent lies. Yeah, there's more to look forward to. And then we don't know. So again, we got reports a couple of months ago that Jack Smith was investigating Trump's fucking golf courses as part of the, as it pertains to the Live tournament. We don't even know what the fuck that's about. Everything regarding that has gone cold. We don't know what the fuck is going on there. He can get indicted for anything. He's been indicted so much in the last 3 months that I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a new indictment every month. It would be totally.
I don't know. Maybe he's being investigated by the Office of Foreign Asset Control or something.
I don't know. She also asked
bribing public officials.
Anything is possible. She also asked, what's my zodiac sign? I'm a Scorpio, Michelle. Thank you for asking, I guess. I don't know how important that is. I know we're probably not compatible, but I'm great in bed. Midas_heart asks, well, that's at Platinum Heart, says, when do you think that 45 will get arrested? Well, I imagine, given that they unsealed, well, I guess they didn't even seal the indictment. The indictment was made publicly available today on Tuesday, that he will be arraigned no later than next Tuesday. So we're likely to, I mean, I doubt we'll get a perp walk, but I mean, I guess anything's fucking possible. He might ask for it. He might want to do some weird shit for his fundraising or something. Who knows? Who knows the fuck what's going on with this guy?
You think they'll hold the door for him this time, or?
That's a good question. It's plausible they'll like let the door hit him on the way out. Who knows? But yeah, that was fun. So, we finally got some consequences for this motherfucker. Trust me on this. He's going to get convicted. I don't know if he'll go to jail before the 2024 election. Again, there's a lot of shenanigans his lawyers could pull to end up delaying this trial. But as far as the as far as the classified documents case goes, there are far more ways that Trump can engage in shenanigans that could get that trial delayed than there are on this one. This one's pretty straightforward. And because currently there are no other criminal co-defendants, all right, there's no complications to having this evidence, presented to his lawyers through discovery, and for the judge to set a trial date. There's no like super complicated motions that need to be made. I mean, of course, they're going to file as many motions as they can, but it's not like this thing with the classified documents where his lawyers have to get clearances, and there's like a whole section of protocols for the court to engage in to make the information available to the defendant in discovery, and rules about, well, basically so complicated rules of evidence. Yeah, you enjoy them crackers, huh?
It's gotta be like my last one. It's so good.
You really need some cheese, bro. They don't have to worry about all that shit in DC. It's pretty straightforward, normal shit. I mean, obviously it's a criminal fucking conspiracy, so it's not totally normal. And the fact that it was about overthrowing is overthrowing an election. And
hey, and you know what? This is obviously like really reliable news here, but breaking right now, Ginny Thomas trending with co-conspirator. If you people on Twitter have posited that Ginny Thomas is co-conspirator number 6, or was it 7? The last one.
Number 6, yes, a number of people.
So it must be true.
No, I don't know if that's the case.
It was worth interrupting you over.
No, but it's fun to speculate. Regular speculation there. Yeah. It's about time we had some fucking consequences for this dude. I'm glad he's going to jail. I'm glad it was the 100th episode of Part of the Insurrection. It feels fitting that, like, as we celebrate a milestone in this podcast, we celebrate the biggest milestone in the criminal investigations into Trump's behavior so far. Just the universe is aligned. Fate's on our side. And I totally expect that more indictments of other individuals are coming. Like, again, we've got Michigan fake electors and Michigan Republicans indicted in state court in Michigan. Don't expect this to be the end of criminal charges. Like, the statute of limitations does run for a long time. They're going to get these motherfuckers. Jack Smith's going to get these motherfuckers. Fonnie Willis is going to get these motherfuckers. Just you wait. Yeah. Yep. Mark my words. All right, Carol, you got any closing thoughts?
Yeah, we're moving in the right direction. And I still think we have some good stuff to look out for with the voting rights cases. Mark Elias, I know you obviously listen to our wonderful podcast. So it's because it's so serious and legally. I'm excited to see what he'll do with this. Yeah, I hope this gets people motivated again to get out there and volunteer for some election stuff. There's always something coming up. I hear Kentucky has elections coming up in August or September, possibly. Let's just figure out when that is, and I'll be back at you with that later.
Yeah.
Ty, got any closing thoughts?
Good one, Ty. All right. As for my closing thoughts, just given the severe nature of these criminal indictments and the likelihood that Trump is going to be indicted, I mean, this is going to be a major blow to the Republican Party. And if you don't want these motherfuckers to win in 2024 and through legitimate means or otherwise, like, what you're going to have to do is make sure that Democrats win enough states in the 2024 election. Like, there is no criminal plot that they can engage in to win, because it'd be so massive that there'd be no way to pull it off. The same way that happened in 2020. Like, you see all the shit Trump was involved in and his cronies were involved in to overturn, 5, 6, 7 states. Like, imagine if it had just been Georgia. If he had only had to lean on Raffensperger or like a handful of fake electors. It's possible that he could have pulled this fucking shit off. And you know what stopped him? It was you guys. You all out there, who individuals like you who like this podcast or who vote for Democrats or who support democracy in general, voted in numbers so big, so massive that you won so many states that there was nothing Trump could do, no matter how hard he tried, no matter how many people he conspired with. There was nothing he could do to overturn the 2020 election. We're going to have to do that fucking shit again. But this is our opportunity to get them in such a deep hole that they never get back in power. Like, they're weak, they're flailing, and this is an opportunity to put our foot on the neck of these fucking criminal, anti-democratic, wannabe fascist fuckers and in this party for good. And that concludes this episode of Part of the Insurrection.